got into negative growth. By 2019, we had a lockdown into 2020. So most businesses at that time, including our economy, failed to survive. Now, maybe it's something that you can sit with your technocrats when you go back. If you look at 2021, the rebalancing of the budget into 2022 and what has been achieved on the external debt, are there any thoughts you are having as a ministry to see how these small businesses, which feel ZRA has been following them in 2018, 2019, 2020, and these years, like 2019 and 2020, we all know these are two formative years that basically what the world economy had, come to a stop, almost grounded to a halt. Recession was everywhere. But your companies, the small businesses which are still being owed by you and being pursued by ZRA on the other hand, are still unpaid. In fact, they're at the stage of what the government is saying, let's audit your invoices. But in my opinion, it's just government buying time, because these transactions have taken place. So is there anything that you're thinking around that area so that the local businesses, small businesses, feel that there's some jump start coming from the New Dawn government? Because on one hand, at the external level, you have responded positively, but to your people feel that this gap of the UPND focusing on abroad, and then locally we are left to fend for ourselves. That is what is happening on the ground, and in the process you are going to see that most businesses will have it difficult to survive. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, when you look at the milestones in terms of the targets that were achieved under the 2022 8th National Development Plan Review, an indication is that in fact the targets there, in terms of targets performance, the results were far much better than the current one, which we are reviewing, is the 2023. And in the report, the annual progress report, as alluded, one of the reasons for that is to the effect that there was lack of participation in terms of giving feedback from the private sector, what I would call the cooperating partners, whereby in the stages of formulation of the 8th National Development Plan, these cooperating partners, the private sector, were involved in the coming up of the document. But now, at the time of getting feedback in terms of what the input will be and the like, then they had to fold their hands. Then this committee is wondering, I don't know what measures as a ministry that which we are putting in place to enhance that participation of these identified stakeholders in the implementation of the 8th National Development Plan. And also, maybe, I don't know whether you have any response as to why then the status quo is like that, where they are not coming on board to participate or to give feedback in terms of these set targets. I hope my question is clear. So in a nutshell, it's just the lack of participation of these cooperating partners and then the private sector in the whole process to ensure that the process is complete. Okay, Honourable Minister, who can respond to these two questions.
Let me start with the first one. I think, Honourable Mumba, the pressure on the smallholders, small, medium and small scale businesses. First of all, There is the impact of the exchange rate that we've faced the last couple of years, which has made cost of doing business to go up. Okay, so on top of that, the impact of the drought this year, as I explained it, goes beyond just food. It talks also about loss of buying power. You can imagine if you are running a bar somewhere in Monze 2-3 years ago, at this time of the year, for example, you'll be doing a lot of business. Farmers, they come and sell their maize, there's money in their pockets, they come and drink. Now you go there, no one comes to buy because they have not earned any income. So we must distinguish between the pressure that comes from what has happened to the economy from the actions of government. Of course, they are related, but I think it's always important to bear in mind that some of this pressure is really just because of what has happened in the drought, just like what happened under COVID, when shops, airport and so forth close and your business goes down. You cannot say we've been ignored at the expense of the foreign business. It's just that the environment has become very hostile. Secondly, I would say that the debt restructuring. The debt restructuring is such that the foreigners that we are paying, of course we are paying something, but we are not, remember, we are also paying far from the original expectations that they were having. Haircut, so-called haircut, to cut off some of the debt. So they're also under pressure. It's just that maybe some of them, as you say, are big and they can survive, and the local people. But that is not to say that we are not paying the local suppliers. Every year we put money in the budget, and it has been growing from 2022, 2023, 2024. The amount of money we are putting in the budget for debt restructuring keeps on going up. So the question then is, why are you not doing more? Why are you not doing more to pay off all these local creditors? Well, it's a matter of choice, Honorable. One of the choices that we could do is to say, look, forget about CDF. The billions that we're putting on CDF, use that to pay off what government owes. There's also a choice of saying, forget about free education. First of all, pay whatever government is owing. These are the choices that we have, because we cannot do both. We have to choose one. The choice that the government has made is to say, let everybody gain something, let everybody also suffer some pain. So yes, we are doing free education, but as you know, it's only from grade 1 to grade 12. Colleges, universities, we are not supporting those. So those children, to some extent, what's the word? They are also, they are bearing some pain, okay? The issue of the business people, we are paying something, but they are also bearing some pain, because we all have to share something. We also have to share some pain. So that is the philosophical approach that we have taken on this particular matter. Finally, I want to say that the problem of the small-scale industries or business in general should not just be seen in the light of what money government is put on the table. Because government money is always bound to be limited. It is also an issue of what is government doing to stimulate the entire economy, so that if government has limited buying power, the businessman is not totally dead, because there's somebody else in the economy who is able to buy. And in this respect, I want to say that the closure of KCM and Mopani, something that you know very well in Fulira, has had a very serious dampening effect. What has happened to all those contractors? What has happened to all those subcontractors? What has happened to all those employees who previously used to get salaries? Because all these people, when they got money from a mine that is alive, they are the ones who would go and buy chicken from a farmer. They would go and buy a spare part car from a garage. So when these were knocked out, it means that even buying power from the private sector was also knocked out. With the revival of these mines, you should certainly see that eventually, you should see that the component of buying power coming from the private sector should be rising. Unfortunately, it will not take one day, because if these mines, when they open, it's not as if in one go there will be 10 billion coming in the country. Every month there is some money coming. It builds up. So people just have to be a little bit patient that yes, these mining companies are back, but it will take some time before they ramp up to the kind of production and therefore money that they can put in the economy. But the good news is that those two are now done. The others, like the cobalt, next year we are told they'll be digging the shaft between Chililavombo and Kasumbalesa, to give the biggest mine ever in Zambia since independence. The shaft starts digging next year. In Mumbwa, where that mine comes from, there's a mine that is about to open, 50,000 metric tons, the size of Luansha. Luansha itself, as we know, they are pumping, it will be reviving. First Quantum and Barrick, they are also growing. Next year, these farmers, the buying power will come back in their pockets. So I think this particular year has been very harsh, but I'm confident that with what's happened in the mines, the revival of agriculture next year, and of course they should see, I'm very confident that we'll see definite improvement in the economic situation of the citizens. Thank you.
Okay, the question of the participation of the cooperating partners.
Can you answer it? Oh, you and the PS.
Thank you, Chair. In response to the concern that was raised on the limited participation of private sector, civil society, including some of the cooperating partners who were part of the formulation of the 8 NDP and pledged to support it in terms of investing resources in it. The measures that we are looking at going forward is that we have a newly formulated policy on development cooperation, and there are some measures there to strengthen the engagement of development partners. As you are aware, development cooperation now is not just encompassing cooperating partners such as donors, but there's also the engagement of the private sector and civil society as players in the development ecosystem. So the policy has set out the measures in terms of strengthening the engagement. This was launched last December, and it's being the stepping up of implementation is actually just starting now. The government will also continue to strengthen existing mechanisms for improved communication and collaboration with development partners within the cluster arrangements that already exist, so that we see where anyone is being left behind, we become more inclusive and ensure that the communication aspect is enhanced, because we note that some of the representatives in these clusters may not be reaching out to the others. We also have, as you are aware, the issue of the review of the National Planning and Budgeting Act, which is underway. That one will also explore what the weaknesses are in the engagement mechanism, and we see how we strengthen it, including the review of the 8th National Development Plan. It will also do some in-depth analysis so that we understand what the issues are. And as you know, government has been working very hard to build back the confidence and trust of our development partners. The minister has already mentioned the discussions that have been had during the debt restructuring process, as well as other engagements with the private sector. This has been pitched at very high level, including the president himself has been part of this process. The minister and other team members have also worked very hard to engage not only bilateral but multilateral cooperation partners. And I think we are already seeing some of the flows from the multilaterals that are coming in, including the support that we are getting for the drought response. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see another hand, unless if there's any other addition. PS, nothing? Okay, thank you. Okay, Honorable Minister, we'll end here with your team. We really want to thank you for appearing before this committee. The immunity that which was given to you earlier on also end here. Honorable Minister, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and we look forward to your report in Parliament.
So thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you soon as we do the green paper, I think. Is it next?
Shove mayo no kutasha pafintu wanchitila no kulomba uwelo papyo na kulufyanya yonse mayo atile anshafika kone kumuna ilalo we mwana nafika kone naishiba ukaticha chinde Amashina bakwitile mayo ifintu wapitilemo bakufyalwa kwandi bamwansa ifilamba mwaponeshe imiso wa mwalilile pakuti inembe kumukoreko nomwana obe munu mamayo mumakululu nentampulo shobe ifyo wanchingilila kubalwanyi mayo